tradition. All images is of the devil. And this is what our fathers, gave us. I said, and what if your father was a fool? Would you follow him? Did I jump on him, brother? I beat the hell out of them, man. Because they sounded silly to me. So I came back to America. There was no movie. And I met my brother and I stood up to rebuild the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now the movie is made. But what was Warner Brothers' motive? Do you mean the Jewish people who run Warner Brothers would put $30 million behind a so-called anti-Semite? When somebody is dead, it takes a living person to get a dead man up out the grave. Even though many of us love Malcolm, you don't have the power to raise him from the dead, but white folks do. And for the last 6 years, they've been raising Malcolm in periodicals and writings that you ain't got nothing to do with. This is white folks orchestrating this. Why? Because 6 years ago or more, Jesse Jackson stood up to become president. 6 years ago, Louis Farrakhan burst on the international scene. 6 years ago, they started battling Louis Farrakhan. And every Negro that they battled, they made him buck dance. But Louis Farrakhan is the only one so far. He ain't bent his knee. He fought back. And God has blessed me to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So the white folks said, we ain't got no living black man to raise up against Louis Farrakhan. They tried it with Jesse, and it didn't work. They couldn't try it with Ben Hooks and others because they have no standing in the black community among the little people. So the only way they could get Farrakhan, they had to raise a dead man with the purpose of using a dead man against a living black man that they have no power over. I want you to listen, brother. This is their motive. They cleaned up Malcolm. They never mentioned that Malcolm was an anti-Semite. Why? They don't give a damn about Malcolm. They wanted to use Malcolm against Elijah Muhammad and bust Elijah Muhammad down as the foundation upon which I stand. But their plan was even more diabolical than that. You said, we're going to raise Malcolm. And Spike, born to make this film, but trying to get even. Little vindictiveness. He makes a movie. Denzel was brilliant. I don't think they could have got a better Malcolm. They searched the world over. Denzel did that job. Even the brother that they cast to do Elijah Muhammad, though I don't like his script, he did a good job. And even though there were negative things in the movie, and yes, the intent was evil, but I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, that movie will do a lot more good than any harm than it could do. It's what we do with what is generated from the film. Now look at this. 2 weeks after the movie came out, CBS comes out with a documentary, The Real Truth on Malcolm. The movie comes out and Cups and Net puts in a column, Louis Farrakhan, the arch enemy of Malcolm X. Now what they're trying to do is draw me and the nation into the controversy. Because if we jumped into the controversy, then the movie would take off. And they didn't think they could build Malcolm up and we would, and dog the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we would be quiet. They just knew we were going to jump into the fray. And they were counting on that, because what they really wanted to say was that Louis Farrakhan had something to do with Malcolm's assassination. They had it all fixed up. Since I was the man that came and took Malcolm's place in New York, came to live in the home that was Malcolm's, and had the position that once was Malcolm's, they could make a case, they thought, saying that Farrakhan was envious, turned Malcolm in to get Malcolm's spot, had Malcolm bumped off. And the agents that are working among the gangs, they would be down among you. That's why it was so important to get the youth to the movie, because they know our youth got vengeance in them. And if you niggas kill Malcolm, man, we ought to take vengeance on them cats. You mean Farrakhan was involved in that? Then they wanted to turn the guns in the community on the Nation of Islam. And if we started fighting each other, then they could bring the government forces in to round up Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. It was all set. They had Oprah Winfrey and Magic Johnson and Bill Cosby putting their money in, because anything that your money is in, you're concerned. So if Farrakhan had come out beating down the movie, then Oprah would have been angry, Magic would have been angry, they would spread it among those people, so we would have been against the middle class and against the people that say they love us. You understand what I mean? Oh, they had it all worked out, but Farrakhan was made wise to what their plan was by a hidden God. And Farrakhan told everybody in the nation, be quiet. I'm silencing the nation for 90 days. I don't want you out in the public saying nothing, and I'm not going out in the public saying nothing. Because they wanted to raise Malcolm and kill him all over again. They're wicked. They wanted to raise Malcolm and then kill him. Kill Elijah Muhammad again, and above all, get Farrakhan, because the people are beginning to listen to him. But when I didn't say nothing, I got a stack of invitations from television, from Australia, from Germany, from Italy, from, where else? All over in Europe. Then I got all kind of offers in America. I had nothing to say. And everybody among us, we just went quiet and had nothing to say. You notice the nation obeyed. Nobody in the nation opened their mouth. And all of a sudden the movie went up. And then Home Alone 2 came. And then Bodyguard came. Then A Few Good Men came. Then Aladdin came. And all of a sudden they couldn't get their money out of the movie anymore. You saw it. And many of you were angry in one sense. And then some of the brothers in the hood said, I liked the Malcolm that was with Elijah. Looked like Malcolm went overseas drinking tea with them white folks and sold out. This is what some of the brothers were saying. Then on the other hand, when they were talking about Elijah, he was just a dirty old man. People hollering out in the theaters. Now you got the truth. I know Malcolm's shoes because I walked in them. I became the national spokesman. And dear Brother Ayman, on Blessed Clara Muhammad's deathbed, when she was at Mercy Hospital, she asked me to come and I visited her. I love her like my own mother. And as the tears fell from her eyes, Brother Emmanuel, she said these words to me. She said, "Brother, help my husband. He's getting up in age now. Help my husband. He's not going to let you do it, but you help him anyway." She said, "It ain't nothing but jealousy. Help my husband." And look at the word. Elijah Muhammad was not jealous of me or Malcolm. You can't be a jealous person or an envious person and have the Spirit of God in you. Elijah Muhammad just tried us. And I'll tell you what happened to me, Brother Ayman. People begin to praise me as the national spokesman. That Malcolm was smart. He told me before we left each other who my enemies would be. He said, "My enemies are going to one day be your enemies." And then he said, "Brother, I wish it was you being an example for me rather than me being an example for you." He knew. I began to think, as people began to praise me and the ministers started talking about me like a dog, and they began to call me names like I was going to be the hypocrite who would lead the nation astray. Imagine a man working for an organization and giving it everything he got, sacrificing his wife and his children and every bit of money that I had. You know, I was 42 years old and never had a bank account. I never owned nothing. Everything was for the nation. And some of these people talking about I was a hypocrite, stealing money and all kind of crap like that. And when I went to Elijah Muhammad ready to blow up one day, he just said these words to me. He said, "Brother, seek refuge in Allah from the envier when he envies." And he got up and he walked out of the room. And when he came back, he said these powerful words. He said, "Brother, when you got a piece of wood and you're going to put it in the corner of the building to uphold the weight of the building, you got to put a lot of stress on that board. And if it breaks, then you know that's not the board you were looking for. You throw it away and you get you another one." What was he telling me? I'm about to put you in the corner of the nation to uphold the weight of the nation. So I got to put stress on you to see if you will break under that pressure, because I can't have no weak board in the corner of my nation. I tried Malcolm, and Malcolm broke under the pressure. He didn't say that, but I'm saying it. But look at what you have done to me. Call me every name in the book. Some of my own brothers sought to take my life, plan my death. But I have never told one to come after you with evil. A man that you know very well, I won't call his name, robbed the nation when we were poor of $25,000 because we were trying to get back the old home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the mosque. And he said he could deliver. He needed $25,000. He was a friend of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, so he said, but he took our money. And the brothers were so angry they wanted to take his head. I said, leave him alone. I've been slandered by my own brothers. And I've been evil spoken of, but I keep on plugging. And you don't hear me on the radio condemning Imam Warithuddin. You don't hear me on the radio speaking against those who speak against me. Let them say what they want. My work is clear. I'm a strong piece of board in the corner of the building, upholding the weight not of the tiny nation, but of 30 million or more black people in America. God has made me a better man for you than Malcolm X. I'm standing where Malcolm would have stood if he had the character to stand where I'm standing. I thank God for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the test that he gave me. And I say to all of you, stand firm behind the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and never again engage in slander, backbiting. I could never willingly and willfully speak evil words against Malcolm because he said, I wish it was you, being an example for me rather than me being an example for you. So God made my brother an example that I could walk better. So Malcolm died in reality that I might live. I thank Allah for his life, and I grieve over his death. But I promise my Allah that I'm going to continue in the path to make the crooked things straight and the rough places plain. May Allah bless all of you who love Malcolm and bless you to see that Malcolm made a mistake. And God, if it pleases him, will forgive him his mistake and grant him his place, because Malcolm is still doing more for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad dead than many of us are doing alive. He's still making his teaching known. May be perverted, but with the help of God, we'll come behind and straighten it out. So I thank you all for listening. I thank you for your patience. This is a tremendous subject, a deep subject. And I know it's been a long day for you, but it's been a long day for me too, because I preached twice before I got here, and ain't no ways tired. In the audience today is Prince Asiel Ben Israel. Would you come up, Nasik? Hold on. Today in the house, many of the brothers who have struck a truce in the gang-related killings. And Nasik Asiel Ben Israel and Brother Gator, and these brothers, I know that they are Hebrew Israelites. Come on up, brothers, please. Have been working with Nasik Asiel Ben Israel and brother and others. Brother Fontaine from the Black Disciples. Where's brother? He's on his way. These brothers have been working to bring about a truce. And I think they deserve our gratitude. Nasik Asiel Ben Israel, Brother Gator, Brother Fontaine. How you doing? See, what the enemy doesn't understand is that God is raising an army in the streets. And these young men are generals. They're warriors and teachers. And they're tired of killing each other. And they developed a button, and here it is. And on this button, they have all the symbols that they wore under. The crescent, the five-pointed star, the six-pointed star of David. So today, we brought together my Hebrew Israelite brother from the nation of Israel with the nation of Islam. These are Hebrews and Muslims that love each other.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about the Jews over there now and the Muslims, they don't get along. But these,
yes, sir,
we are one.
Yes, sir.
And so the six-pointed star of David, which is a great symbol, and isosceles, two equilateral triangles, one up, one down, 6 sides, 6 points, 6 stars, 6 angles, and every angle 60 degrees. Beautiful symbol. The five-pointed star of the nation of Islam, beautiful symbol, and the crescent. But these are symbols.
Yes, sir.
All they do is represent a great truth. But you are not a symbol. You're the real thing.
Yes, sir.
So we shouldn't let the symbols divide what the symbols were designed to guide the real people of God into divine unity. So I'd just like to ask Prince Asiel if he would just say a word as we close. Would you please, Prince?
It's my divine pleasure, first of all, giving all praises to Allah and to you, my beloved people here. I greet you in the name of your brothers and sisters from Jerusalem and from Rabbi Ben Ami, your servant and brother. Let me first, Minister, take this moment because for me, I want this family to know that you're not only my leader personally, but also a father that have watched over me as you've watched me grow and develop, and that this nation, the NOI, the Nation of Islam, has been a big brother and a parent and a comforter to your brothers and sisters across the water when it was not popular, but you knew it was prophetic. And I want the people today to know that Louis Farrakhan is a true servant of Almighty God, Allah. Allah Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Let me say on behalf of the nations, Chairman Larry Hoover and Minister Rico and Willie Lord, let me say on behalf of Shorty Freeman, let me say on behalf of Chief Malik, and let me say on behalf of the families that have come together that we have broken the arrow and that, like the prophet Isaiah, we will break our weapons of war into pruning hooks and we will build that mighty nation that will serve our people. Let me say to you so that you will be clear. You heard the minister talk about the agent provocateurs, but the only way that they could operate if they made you believe that the nation of Islam and the nation of Israel, the Hebrew nation and the Islamic nation was at war. The only way that they could function if they made you think that the GDs and the BDs and the vice lords were at war. Well, I'm here to tell you that we're moving from gangster to disciple to growth and development. That we're moving from black disciple to bad disciple for God. We're moving from vice lord to lords of vision, so that those who will perpetrate the agent provocateurs, we will know them, we will deliver them to their tormentors. They won't disrupt the community no more. Let me say that this servant of God, I had the humble pleasure of standing with him the first public speaking engagement at Hakeem Mabuti's, when there was no official fruit of Islam around him. I and a nation minister, Prince Amishadai, stood with the minister, and that day, as Anwar Sadat was sitting in Jerusalem with Menachem Begin, Louis Farrakhan and Prince Asiel were sitting, that no longer would there be the sons and daughters of Hagar and the sons and daughter of Sarah arguing, but Abraham is our father and God is watching over both of us. And in closing, let me say to you brothers, and hear me please, the country is trying to fulfill a prophecy that by the year 2000, 70% of all black men will either be in jail, on drugs, unemployed, or dead. I'm saying to you that there is no place to proceed but back to the truth of the living God. We brothers must come back and be servants to truth. We must come back and be dedicated to truth. How will you know what that truth is? The Nation of Islam did not exist after it went down, but a servant of God who had the courage and the faith to believe that his teacher was of God and a Messiah. And I want you to know that I know that the Honorable Elijah was a Messiah for our people. I want it to be clear. I heard those out there call Brother Farrakhan an apostle, so that you don't be confused that he has usurped a title that he is not worthy of. In the true essence of the word apostle, it means one who has been taught by the Messiah himself and carrying out the instructions of his Lord and Savior. We must understand that I come down from Jerusalem. 25 years ago, the Spirit of God blew across America and caused us to come up out of here, not to separate from our people, but to go and prove to the world that what the messenger said about being the lost and found in America had been found, and that there was a twofold mission. If you remember looking at the newspaper, Muhammad Speaks, you saw two hands reaching across the globe. One was on the other side back in Africa and Asia, and one was still standing in America. Well, I want you to take a look at those two hands right now.
Thank you. Nasik, Asiel Ben Israel. Let's hear it again. Allahu Akbar.